this has been a very powerful project. And as we come to a place where the work is not done, the work is still ever present, but as it's nearing the end, I'm thinking, wow, we did something, and we didn't know if we were going to be able to do anything.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here today. I'd like to convene the meeting of the Neighborhood School Development Partnership for Thursday, February 23rd. We have a long list of things on the agenda, so let's jump right in. The first item is minutes. The minutes are in front of you, and if there's any questions or comments, please let me know. And if not, I'll take a motion to approve.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, thank you. All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? All right. Minutes are passed. The next item on the agenda are discussion items. There are none, so let's move right into action items. We have action item 4.01 for contract number 203376.
Good morning, everybody. So we're going to try to move through our agenda items fairly quickly today. Like typical, my team are on the Zoom, and they'll be handling the actual contract details, but I'll just give you some brief overview. So 4.01 is a criteria architect. This is for Star Consultants. This is for our big roofing package that we have planned. It's part of our ESSER capital plan. The plan is to put new or substantially renovated roofs on about 11 facilities. And so with that, I will turn this one over to Brandy. Give it just 1 minute. Looks like we're working through perhaps a technical issue.
Feels that like the first week of COVID.
Yeah, right. Oh, you're muted. Like, what?
You're muted. Is this thing on? Here's my cat.
Funny, the cameras are all on us. We're looking at the camera.
Crank yours, crank yours.
Go ahead. Going to try to excel in that I needed a backup plan. So, my focus was always academics
Good
first.
morning. I think
and
we
then
can hear
using
you
track
guys
as that
now.
vehicle to pay for school.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Because I wasn't born
Good
in
morning.
money.
Yes, we can.
Okay.
Yes, I can hear now.
Okay.
Yeah, I got you, Brandon. You guys hear me okay?
Yep.
Yep.
Perfect.
I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I think I am the first one to go.
Yes.
Can everybody see my screen okay?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Did we already call the meeting to order? We couldn't hear for like the first 5 minutes.
Yep, sorry, Brandy. So go ahead and present item 4.01. We've gone through all the intros.
Not that
and
I'm aware
minutes.
of.
Okay.
Did you hear me, Brandy? We had a technical issue on this end, so we've already opened the meeting and approved the meeting minutes, and we're on to item 4.01. So go ahead and present, please.
You want to try it? Maybe it's Alex's.
Hey, Brandy, just want to let you know that we have opened the meeting, and we are on to item 4.01, and the floor is yours to present, and we see your screen. Can you guys hear us? So close.
And the cat is walking across.
That's going to be a quick meeting. I know. Yes. That's funny. It is like the beginning of COVID. Figuring out on the fly.
It never really stopped. After the first week, it just kept
Things that I
going.
could not pay for in a
All right, Brandy, are you there?
Yep, I'm here. I can hear you guys now.
All right. Again,
But-
we apologize for the technical difficulties, but as Alex mentioned, we are on item 4.01, and the floor is yours. Thank you for your
Alrighty.
patience.
No problem. Okay, 4.01 is award of contract for Criteria Architect Services to Star Consultants for the roof replacement project, and it's project number 24004. So item 1 is the copy of advertisement that is in the dispatch and the CCS district website. Here is the long advertisement. This has the HVAC and the roof, which Kurt will do the HVAC next, so you will see duplicates of these items. We have the request for qualifications next. We have the informational meeting agenda with like the background and when RFQs were due. And we have the sign-in sheet. We actually took qualifications for professional services and the design builders at the same time for this project. Here is the statement of qualifications for Star Consultants. As you can see, they have Lawhon and DHDC as some subs for this project. We only had 3 submissions for the criteria architect for this project. So usually if we have more, we will we'll review their statement of qualifications and then shortlist. But since we only had 3, we did not have to shortlist. So we just interviewed them. Next is the shortlist selection letter that we post on the district website. Here is the score sheets from their interviews. And as you can see, everybody had Star Consultants as their first choice. Here are the regrets and congrats letters. Regrets letters went to S Architecture and Development, and the congrats letter to Star Consultants. We have the legislation, which shows 1.25 million as a dollar amount, and the background on the project. As you can see, this is ESSER funded as well. The working contract is item number 9. And we have LEDE Form A signed by Terry Wise. Star Consultants is an LEDE firm, but they they're 100% LEDE, but they will be using Lawhon and Associates for testing and DHDC Engineering for testing and inspection. Does anybody have any questions? If there are questions, we cannot hear, so.
No questions.
No
Just
questions.
a point, Mr. Chair, the technical subcommittee did review and approve this, and as such, I'll make a motion to approve the award for the criteria architect for project number 203376.
Thank you, Jim. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Jennifer. All right, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Brandy.
You're welcome.
All right,
right.
moving on to item 4.02, approving project number 24003.
All right, can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, great, thank you. So again, this is a 4.02, award of contract for Criteria Engineering Services to IMAG Corp. For the HVAC improvements project number 24003. So I'll jump right into that. So here's the copy of our advertisement. But I guess I want to give a little background on this before I start here. So this is the HVAC side that you saw earlier. This is going to address the gyms and auditoriums that don't have cooling currently in the district. So it'll be about 16 sites that will be able to get that accomplished in with this project. So here is again the advertisement. that you've seen earlier with the HVAC and the roofing. Here's the RFQ that was sent out with all of our important information on there. Here is our agenda for the informational meeting. Our sign-in sheet, pretty good turnout. And then this is a statement of qualifications for IMEG. They have VSWC Architects and Cabil Associates as part of their team. Here are how the scores broke down. You can see we had 4 firms submit. Our short list selection letter. So the firms that were shortlisted were IMEG, Kramer, and Star. Here is our score sheet with IMEG being the favorite. Here are our regrets, congrats letters. Regrets to Star, I think. And then congrats to IMEG. Our legislation at $652,000. Again, this is ESSER funded. Here is our working contract and our LEDE form signed by Terry Weiss. They committed to 20% for the goal. And that should bring us to any questions.
All right, with no questions, I'll ask for a motion to approve.
So moved, and again, the technical subcommittee did review and approve this as well. So I'll move award of contract for Criteria Engineering to IMEG, project number 201753.
Thank you, Jim. Is there a second?
A second.
Thank you, Scott. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. Thank you so much for the presentation. Moving on to item 4.03, contract amendment number 1 for professional design services to ES Architecture and Design Development, project number 23003.
All right,
Great,
take it away, Kurt.
All right. And again, yes, this is for a building envelope project. This is our contract amendment. And a little background on this was this project started out as a design build. As we kind of progressed through the design, we opted to go to a design bid build. So we're going to convert this contract to a design bid build. It just worked better for our purposes. We had a well-defined scope. You'll see the contract, the construction contract come up a little later for this project. This project is going to address Hiltonia Middle School and Centennial High School. Hiltonia, we have some EFIS repair. The entire building is EFIS. So we're going to replace all the EFIS on that building, put a cladding over it. And then at Centennial, we have a small facade that we'll do some EFIS repair on, and then some tuck pointing throughout the entire building. So that's where we are with that. So again, this is to convert to the design bid build. So here is the proposal for $195,512 from S. Here is our legislation for the same dollar amount. Again, this is ESSER funded. And here is our working contract. And that should take us to any questions. That was a quick one.
Probably doesn't understand, at least not in the listening audience. So Hiltonia is a unique building for us. It is one of our standard prototype buildings. So there's a couple other buildings built with the same design, but I think it was back in the 1980s. Apparently that building had some masonry issues. And so the brick off that building was mostly stripped off the building. And it was reskinned with a combination of precast concrete panels down below for durability. And then EFIS, or exterior insulation and finishing system, was put on the upper portions of the building. EFIS is not very common in school construction. It's much more common in commercial construction. It's a fine system. It just doesn't have the lifespan that traditional masonry does. So again, I just wanted to give that a little bit of extra context. So this is just kind of restore and make sure we get more life out of that system that's on that building. It'll also make the building look far better than it does today.
Great. Thanks, Alex, for the explanation. Is there any questions from the board on the project? If not, I'll take a motion to approve.
Again, we reviewed this at the technical subcommittee and approved it, and as such, I will move to approve the amendment number 1 for design services for project 23003.
Second.
All right. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Jim. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right, the motion carries. Thank you so much. We're just moving right along on item 4.04, contract amendment for criteria engineering services to M Consultants, LLC, DBA M Engineering, for project number 23001.
Great, thank you. Yes, again, this is another contract amendment. So this project, 23001, is for 4 buildings. It's for Siebert Elementary, Northland High School, Woodcrest Elementary, and Girls Prep. We're doing a little bit of scope in each of those. And so as we kind of progress through this project, some additional funding from ESSER became available. So we were able to pick up a good amount of scope additional that we didn't plan on doing. So it's really, really beneficial for this project here. So in the proposal, and I'll kind of go through it a little bit where we picked up the extra. So as you can see, the proposal's for $183,909. Our original budget was $2 million. And then with the additional ESSER funding, we were able to get our total budget at $5,343,818. And so that is what that additional dollar captures. But what we were able to get out of that was at Northland, we're going to add, we're going to renovate the library unit and the office unit. And then at Siebert, all we had originally in scope was the boilers. So not only are we doing the boilers, but we're going to replace the chiller, all of the unit vents, and a complete BAS control system for that site. So very exciting that we were able to kind of accomplish all that scope. So again, here is the dollar amount, 183,909 in ESSER funded. And this is the working contract. And that should bring us to any questions.
Thank you so much. Are there any questions from the board?
Actually, one quick question. With the boiler chiller system, how much localized control is there of the, like, is there a thermostat in every wing, every classroom? How does that typically work?
Oh, great.
There will be, oh, go ahead, Alex.
No, go for it. Go for it, Kurt. You got it.
Oh, so yeah, they will all be have their own zone, which means they will have their own thermostat. So every classroom will have their own thermostat that controls their own unit vent. And then you'll have your stats in the office and the gym. So everywhere that we have a zone, there'll be a stat. All classrooms are one zone. So they'll each have their own individual stat and control their own temperature in that classroom.
Thank you.
So again, just a little more context. So Siebert is an unusual building for us too, and that's part of the reason why we're doing so much work here. So we did not touch Siebert as part of Operation Fix It because it was already air conditioned. Now the systems there were very well into their useful life. And so, again, between having the additional ESSER funds, but also having the new collective bargaining agreement that puts some stipulations on the ability to control temperature in classrooms, it just made sense to go ahead and bring this building up to a similar standard to where we've gotten all the other buildings. So I think that building's on pneumatic controls right now, so very difficult for our maintenance team to maintain. So this will get it much more to a parity level with our other buildings.
Thank you.
Great. Any other questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved, again, reviewed by the Technical Review Committee, so move approval. We're on 23001, correct?
Yep.
Losing track of my head.
Long agenda. Thanks, Jim. Is there a second?
Second.
Thanks, Jeff. All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 All those opposed? Say nay. All right, motion carries. Moving right along to item 4.05 on the agenda, to award a general contract to Berglund Construction Company for the building envelope at multiple sites, project number 23003.
All right, thank you very much. And again, yes, this is for project award for 23003. This was the project I referenced earlier for Centennial and Hiltonia. This is the construction contract. And so we start with our copy of the advertisement, our short copy, and then our long copy, with our advertised budget of 1.9. Again, our agenda for our pre-bid meeting. And it goes over all of our boilerplate stuff, our important information, schedules. Here is our sign-in sheet for that meeting. Next is our bid tabulation. You can see we had 3 bids, with Berglund being the low bid of 1.3. So they are substantially low, 30% low. So here is our AOR recommendation letter recommending Berglund for the project. So because they were substantially low, we required a substantially low letter from their bonding company. So this is the request from our architect, and this is the letter from their bonding company. Here is our legislation, again, for 1.349500 with the ESSER 3 funding. Here is our working contract, the sites listed, Centennial and Hiltonia. And they were not able to meet their LEDE goal, and I will get into that here. So Terry has not signed this. And here is the letter from Jeff Berglund with Berglund Construction. Or this was from John, but Jeff is who I've been talking with. So as you can, I'll let you guys kind of read through this. So they have done a good faith. We're still continuing that good faith to try to find LED opportunities, but there's not many trades available on this job specifically. EFIS, Alex talked about the EFIS. That's one trade, masonry and roofing. And roofing is really only on Centennial, and it's only protection. So they're not really doing any roofing. It's just to protect that. And because it has a warranty, you have to go with the company that warranties that roof, and they are not LED. So that one's out. Masonry, Berglund is a mason company, so they're going to self-perform all the masonry or mason trades. And then EFIS, they've subcontracted that out. I don't believe we had any LED EFIS contractors. So we are trying different avenues and different paths. They've been in contact with Terry Wise, I have, in addition to Jeff, and we're still continuing to try to get avenues, be it maybe porta pots on the job or hauling or cleaning. So we're trying to find some LEDE participation for this project. It's just been tough with the trades that we have for this project. So I just wanted to give you all a little background on that and know that we're not completely dead in the water. So we do have some options and some avenues that we're going to continue to pursue. So that'll bring us to the end. Does anybody have any questions?
Yes, I have a quick question. Can you explain the process for when there's a bid that comes in substantially low compared to what we expected?
Yeah, so we have a bid review after the bids come in where you kind of dive into that bid and that number, which we did. And once we feel that the bid, our scope is all included in that bid and their number is solid and they'll stand by that number, then we, if it's substantially low, we have to get that bonding letter from their bonding company so everybody knows that it's low and everybody is aware. But we did vet out that scope extensively, and I feel confident that we have everything included in that scope.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
In that bid, I'm sorry, all the scope included in the bid.
Are there any questions or comments from members of the board? All right. Not hearing any questions or comments anymore, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I move passage of the award of the general contract to Berglund, project number 23003, and the technical review committee was excited to see bids come in low. It's like it's been a few years since that happened, so we are all, like, okay, make sure we're all good, so.
All right. Thank you, Jim, for the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Scott. All right. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Motion carries. Thank you so much for the presentation. We appreciate the detail and your efforts to continue with the LDE awards throughout the term of the contract. Moving on to item 4.06, award of general contract to Lusk Mechanical Contractors for the Hamilton STEM Classroom Reset, project number 23003. 4.020.
So real quick, Ansley, before I have her take over the presentation, I do just want to kind of say a couple quick words. So I think we're particularly excited today about 4.06, 4.07, and 4.09, because I think almost everything you've seen to this date has been very infrastructure, very nuts and bolts focused. So, I mean, some of us get excited about it, but it's a little hard to get too excited about it from a student impact standpoint. So these three projects are quite different. So these are going to be the first projects we've really tried to get off the ground that are really going to be very student, public, staff facing. And so with that, I'll let Ansley take over with 4.06.
Okay, so I'll go over 4.06, which, as Alex said, I think we're all pretty excited about in the district. So I'll give you a little bit of background because this is a very different project from what you've seen from us before. Hamilton STEM is actually really close to our building on 17th here in Linden. It's about a 1952 building. It's got a couple additions on it. We've made infrastructure improvements there as part of Operation Fix It. So infrastructurally, it's in great shape. It's got HVAC in all the classrooms. We did the lighting upgrades. We've done some exterior scope, but the inside of the building has not really been touched since 1952. So I've got a couple photos in here so you can kind of see for yourself. This is a typical classroom at Hamilton STEM. Has its original casework, original floor, original ceiling, all in various degrees of condition. So with this project, we thought with this additional ESSER fund, what if we go through and try to make a real aesthetic improvement in all of these classrooms? So the scope of this project takes every surface that you're seeing here basically and would fully renovate it. Sorry if I'm a little muffled, I'll just speak louder. So we're doing full flooring, full ceilings, new tack boards, new whiteboards, new window shades, new paint. So although the four walls are going to stay there, the windows are going to stay there, the door is going to stay there, the classroom's going to have a very new and different feeling at the end of this project. We're going to protect the investment that we've already made. So the existing lighting systems will remain that we've upgraded, and the VRF system, the HVAC, will remain in place as well. Because of the timing of this project, when we decided to move forward with it and really wanting to get it done summer 2023, we decided to go down the job order contracting route rather than full design bid build or design build, just because those take a lot longer for us to get into contract and we would lose the summer's worth of work. So this is a proposal from Gordian using their Equalis contract. And our contract will actually be with Lusk Mechanical Contractors, who are on that Equalis contract with Gordian. So this is the front page of their proposal, which gives you the overall price. So it's going to be 2.9 million, a little bit above. You can see the final number on the legislation. And then the second number on their proposal, this page shows you the kind of big pots of scope that we're working with here and how that 2.9 breaks down in all of that scope. Our biggest buckets here are casework, ceilings, and I think flooring was that third one, just because we've got a lot of square footage of that. So here you can see our legislation for that final amount is going to be $2,972,430.41. As I stated, we're using that ESSER 3 funding for this project. And we will be using our standard general contract for this project. So this is the front page of that contract. And here is our LADE Form A. This project will meet the LADE participation goal of 20%. Right now, they have identified Farber Mechanical to do their plumbing, commercial painting for the painting, and Kina Environmental for their asbestos abatement. They're also going to be procuring the window shades through Williams Interior Design. They've got a couple more scopes, dumpsters, and the installation or material for the LVT flooring that they're still trying to find additional LADE vendors for to exceed their 20% goal. So I think we'll be in good shape LADE on this project. That is the end of that presentation. If anybody has any questions.
Is there any questions from the board?
It may be helpful for Alex or Ansley to explain job order costing, just so everybody understands, that is a bid work, might be helpful.
Yeah, it's a great question. So Gordian is a national company, but they also have a presence here in Ohio. And so they have, I don't know if they created it, but they have this process called job order contracting. So it is a unit-priced contract. There is a book that is incredibly enormous, like an old school phone book that has pretty much every component you could imagine that it would take to build, renovate, demolish, rehab a space. And those books are put out on a regular basis for bids to contractors that they pre-qualify. And so we now have access to that same job order contract that they have bid with Equalis. So Equalis is an Ohio-based cooperative that we also have access to. And so that's the quick story on job order contracting. Is there anything else you think we should?
No, it's much like state term, but they are publicly bid. In fact, I think they're going through the new bid cycle right now. So they're like two-year intervals that public entities can contract with. So
That's a great question, because I was curious about the bidding not being shown in the presentation, but it's already been done on the front end before they came to us, essentially.
And the bidding is done by this third party at that, so they follow the same rules that this.
Yep.
yeah,
Okay.
That's correct.
public notice, it's
Yeah, the whole thing, yeah.
same
Nice.
process.
This was a more technical question to the actual renovation, knowing that there was some asbestos. Do we know what was actually asbestos in that building? I mean, was it the flooring? I was just curious to know.
The flooring is all asbestos containing. We're going to try to keep as much of the flooring intact. It's actually, for being so old, the flooring is relatively intact. So hopefully with our new flooring systems, we can go over that. The main thing we'll have to abate is a little bit of ceilings. Some of the mastic in our ceilings is asbestos containing. And there's also some old sound panels in the gym, on like the top half of the gym walls that will need abated.
Is the flooring, is that a vinyl plank that you guys are, what's the new system that gets put down?
Yep, it'll be vinyl plank.
Thank you.
And a little bit of epoxy as well in some of our like art rooms.
Like I said, I'm trying to contain myself, but this really is exciting for us in terms of, it's like the end goal has to be facility master plan, but we also know that some of these buildings are going to take many years, maybe a decade or more to get to that point. And so to be able to make this kind of investment, it's been really fun, I think, for us to be able to sit down with the principal, his staff, and for people to actually get excited about the fact that we can actually not be kind of stuck.
Yeah.
Like we felt here stuck. And then not to get too ahead of ourselves either, but we're also still working on a few other components to kind of finish off this project. So, it's a difficult thing to try to, make decisions on how much to invest in any one particular building. But, as we start talking it through, it's like, it's really hard to make this level of investment in a classroom and not touch the instructional technology. I mean, it does tend to be the focal point of a classroom. So we're working on that piece right now with the team that's responsible for that. And we're also going to be working on some furnishing upgrades across the district. And I think we'll include this building in that one as well. Again, it's like really hard to imagine completely renovating a building and putting the same old furniture right back into the space. And we'll have to take it all out to be able to make the renovations in the first place. So so when you think at all those things together, it really kind of makes the most sense to try to tackle as much scope at one time. And then hopefully we don't have to be back in that building for many years.
Great. Thanks, Jeff. Great question.
Alex, this is Eric. One question I had was Ansley's reference to this at the beginning as aesthetic. And I don't know if that's a technical term that applies to this, because it certainly appears to me, and it's great, that there's much more than aesthetic to this project, that there's a lot of functional improvements and a lot of improvements that are just going to improve the durability and the longevity of the project. Is that right, or am I misunderstanding?
No, you're very right. I think also in terms of like the casework, it's going to be a much more functional classroom for our staff. And then hopefully with some of the other changes that Alex is referencing with the furniture upgrades and the technology upgrades, it'll be a much more vibrant learning experience for our students within the classrooms. So although it's not maybe major renovation, I think it'll be a major transformation for both staff and the building.
That's great. Thank you.
Yeah, I do want to
This
take the
is exciting.
I do want to take the opportunity to put a little praise on Ansley for the work she's put into this. So I kind of tasked her with, so the building's old. It does not meet today's standards for classrooms. Certain aspects of it are not that far away, but I tasked her with looking at the school design manual that the state of Ohio puts out and figuring out a couple different options of how we could lay out casework to both meet the existing conditions, but also to meet the intent of what the state, asks us to achieve as part of the facility master plan work. And so she put a tremendous amount of time in looking at a couple different potential layouts and then meeting with the staff and the principal and talking through the merits of each. So, I think everybody's going to notice the aesthetic differences. Like there should be a wow factor when people walk into this building. Like it should look really nice. But to Board Member Brown's point, he's absolutely correct. I mean, there is a lot of function in this too that I think the teachers are really going to appreciate in terms of their work on a day-to-day basis. So it's an exciting project for us.
That's great. And is it planned to be complete by the next school year beginning? Knock on wood?
It's planned to be complete for 23, 24 school year. Yeah, they're going to be working double shifts to try to get all this work done over the summer. So it will be a busy building.
Yeah, that's great. That's great.
Yeah, but it's great dialogue, and I don't want to belabor it, but like there is a lot of thought and decision making that goes into some of the things you hear. So it's not our first choice to put a floor on top of another floor, but the amount of time it takes to abate, and you can't do a whole lot of anything else in that building while you're abating. And meanwhile, it introduces a lot of water to the slab, and so it's got to dry before you can. So if it sounds a little haphazard, trust me, it's not. Ansley and that team have put in a tremendous amount of effort to get us to this point, so I do thank them for that.
I think I second that appreciation for all the time putting into it. We see the agenda items, but we know a lot of man hours have been put in to get us to this point. So thank you for that. Is there any more questions or comments in regards to this action item? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Yeah, I was going to say, my only comment is I remember sitting in a classroom like that, and I know over the years I've hopefully upgraded. So I think it's time that we do the same thing to those classrooms. So, again, applaud the work. I think it's going to be great for the students and the staff and faculty to be able to get a new room to work with newer amenities. With that, I would move approval of project number 23020 to advance with less mechanical.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Jeff. All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. Thank you so much for the presentation and the questions and discussion on this item. It's appreciated. Moving right along to item 4.07 on the agenda, to award general contract to Ventura for the playground and site improvements at multiple sites, project number 23004.
Okay, we'll get into this one. I think we brought this to the table earlier in the year for our professional design contract for this project, but this will be the construction project. And this really is kind of just like what it sounds like, playground and site improvements at multiple sites. So it's kind of divided into two buckets for this project. The first are 8 replacement sites. So there's a play set there. We're demoing that play set and putting in a new elementary play set. So that's at 8 buildings. That's Alpine, Duxbury Park, East Columbus, Scottwood, East Haven, Berwick, Windsor STEM, and Como. These sites were prioritized based on the age of the equipment that was there. So you're looking at the oldest equipment that's in the district that's being replaced in those 8 sites. The second bucket are sites where we have pre-K programs, but we don't have a pre-K set. Typically in our FMP, our new builds, if you have a pre-K program, you design a specific set for those younger students. So these are older buildings. They had the pre-K added, and now with this additional ESSER funding, we're able to go through and add that set that should accompany that program. So those 5 buildings are Northtown, Valley Forge, Mays, Broadley, and East Haven. And these were prioritized based on pre-K enrollment. So these have the largest pre-K programs in those older buildings. Just wanted to show you kind of what those playgrounds are going to look like. So on the left side of the screen, you can see those replacement sets, much bigger set. They're meant to serve 100, students at a time that are out for recess. And then you'll have a smaller pre-K set, smaller student group and smaller people using that set. We try to focus a little bit on sensory items for those preschoolers, and then try to focus on more like climbing, things that students can do together on those 8 replacement sets. I'll get into the nuts and bolts now. This is a copy of our first advertisement. This is the short ad that goes in the dispatch. This ran on January 25th and February 1st. And that short ad drives you to our district website where you see this longer advertisement. This shows our estimates for the project when we're holding our pre-bid, and gives bidders an idea of where they can procure those bid documents. This is our pre-bid agenda. We had our pre-bid on February 1st. This goes through how bidders can deliver their bids, a brief overview of the bid package our architect goes over, once again goes through our estimates for the project. It gives them a schedule, when we're boarding it, when they would see their notice to proceed, and when we're looking for substantial completion. This is our sign-in sheet from that pre-bid. We had 3 or 4, I believe 4 firms participate in our pre-bid agenda. And then this is a bid tab. We only ended up with 1 bidder for this, which was Pentura. Luckily, they were under our estimate. They were 14% under, so they were awardable. This is our AOR's recommendation letter, recommending Pentura to move forward with the contract. And this shows their final legislation. So they're going to be in for $3,310,278. This is our working contract, or using our standard contract for this project. And this is the front page of the LEDE form. Although it seems like a large contract amount at that above $3 million, a lot of that cost is the playground equipment itself. So outside of that, the labor and other kind of scope items are fencing, and there's a little bit of additional site work to do. So they are not going to meet the 20% goal for this project. Right now, they've identified their fencing contractor as an LED opportunity. So that gives them about 5% of that overall contract amount. But like I said, it is a little bit misleading how much of that $3 million is actually just the playground equipment itself, which is not LEDE applicable. So similar to Kurt's, we'll see if there's any other small opportunities with their dumpsters, with their porta potties, that we can increase that 5%. But that is where we're at right now, and that has been signed and approved by Terry Wise. And this is Pentura's email documenting their good faith effort. And with that, I'll take any questions on the playground and site improvements project.
Thank you so much. Are there any questions or comments from the board? Looks like a good playground. I know my daughter would really enjoy running around on that. So if there's no questions or comments, I'll take a motion to approve.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Jeff. All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 All those opposed, no? All right, motion carries. Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Moving right along to item 4.08, award a general contract to Sheedy Paving for the asphalt repairs and replacement at multiple sites, project number 23021.
So we're going to switch back to Brandy for the final 3 presentations, but hopefully this one looks a little bit familiar. I would just say at this point, hopefully we've stood up enough of the concept of life cycle renewal that we should have an asphalt contract going out every single year. The size of it might fluctuate, and so you'll see the amount here is a little bit more modest than we've done the past couple of years, but this is an indefinite quantity asphalt contract that'll take care of a couple sites across the district, and I'll let Brandy take it from there.
Thanks.
Thank you. Again, this is the asphalt repair and replacement at multiple sites, CCS project number 23021. We have the short advertisement that is in the dispatch. It ran on 127 and 23. And that takes you to the large advertisement that is on the district website. We have an estimate of $930,000. And it tells you when our pre-bid meeting is and things of that nature. We have our pre-bid meeting agenda with a little bit of background. With the default guideline schedule and estimates. We have the sign-in sheet. Nobody attended this pre-bid meeting, so there's that. We have the bid tabulation. We did have one bidder, which was Sheedy Paving, and their amount was $448. We have the legislation noting that same amount. We actually did this project in conjunction with Buildings and Grounds. It is ESSER funded. We have the working contract. We have the LEDE form next, signed by Terry Wise. They have a 20% LEDE goal, and they will be utilizing Bridges Brothers Trucking to meet that goal. Do we have any questions?
I have a quick question. It looks like here it was about 400,000 below our initial estimates. Were our estimates just too high, or is there a industry cost reduction for the services there, or combination thereof?
Yeah, I think probably a combination of all of the above. I will tell you, this is maybe the most challenging time I've seen us have in terms of trying to measure the market. We would actually have 3 more contracts in front of you today, except we had 3 bids that were not successful. So you see the results are kind of all over the place. Coverage is all over the place as well. You know, we're happy that somebody bid the contract. We obviously wish there were more.
Yeah.
But I don't know that I've got a better answer for you than that.
No worries. Thank you.
Yeah, and I think it may be because you had one catching the market at a time where other contractors were committed and maybe they lost work, and so they were very competitive, which is good for us, and
Yeah.
you know, they bid, so.
That's great. All right. Any other questions or comments from the board?
Yeah, so do they have to go through the same low bid analysis or bonding letter as well because they're so far below the estimate? How does that work? I didn't see that on there. I apologize.
They did not.
Is that
We can follow up on that one. This is a little bit different being an indefinite quantity contract, but that is a good question. We'll follow up on that one and make sure we've got that one covered if we need to. Good question, thank you.
Thanks, Jeff. There's no more questions or comments. I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Second?
All right. Thanks, Jeff. Thanks, Jim. All right. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Motion carries. Moving on to item number 4.09 on the agenda, to award a general contract and change order number 1 to Zimmerman School Equipment Incorporated for the loose furnishings at multiple sites, project number 23011.
So I'll give just a little bit of overview on this one as well before Brandy does the presentation. So this is another one of the projects that we're pretty excited to do in conjunction with our academics team. So, you know, outside of, again, new construction, we've rarely invested in new furnishings in our school facilities. Schools are maybe doing it on a small piecemeal basis as they have funds available. So we decided to make a pretty intentional effort to start to change that process here in the district. So meeting with our academics team, you know, it's tough. There's a lot of needs. So how do you focus in a way where you can actually make some impact? So as we talked through the different ideas, we thought one place where we could make a big impact was our cafeterias. It's not a traditional classroom space, and yet they're probably some of the most heavily used spaces, especially in the middle schools and high schools. But again, knowing we can't touch everything at the same time, we made the decision to focus on our middle school facilities. And so what you're going to see here is a furnishings package that will pretty much reset all of the cafeteria furnishings at all of the middle schools unless they've already been touched through facility master plan or like our facility task force work. And I don't know that Brandy is necessarily going to get into too much of the design side of it because she's covering for Lori, who's away right now. But again, I would just encourage people to come out and see. these new cafeteria spaces when they're finished. Most of our cafeteria seating right now is very uniform, so it's either going to be bench seating. There's some tables with loose chairs, but whatever you see in that cafeteria is pretty much going to be one seating option for every child. So if you'd rather sit by yourself that day, too bad. If you'd like to sit in a more social environment, you're not going to get that opportunity. But you are going to now. So every layout's going to look a little bit different. So our team, our design team, our project manager met with every one of the middle school principals and talked through the merits of the design. There's some commonalities across all the sites, but there's also some differences based on, number one, the buildings are all a little bit different, and what that principal and her team thought would be most successful there. But you're going to see a combination of very traditional seats. So we're not getting rid of the tables with the attached stools because there is some functionality to that we didn't want to lose. But you're also going to see some two-top tables, so very similar to what you might see in a fast food restaurant. You're going to see some booth seating. So for the first time, you're going to see some seats that I think will really help support social emotional learning, will really help with events other than lunchtime, breakfast, good places to have more kind of one-on-one conferences. There's also group tables, so taller kind of bistro height tables where groups of 4, 6, 8 students, parents, staff can kind of sit and talk, more kind of family style. So again, nerding out on facility stuff, but like these are exciting changes for us in terms of being able to have some flexibility, for our students to have some autonomy. So I'll let Brandy take it from there.
Thanks, Alex.
Okay, I will get right into it. So we have a copy of the short advertisement that is put in the dispatch. And it ran on 119, 126, and 23. We have the large advertisement. Sorry if you guys can hear my phone ringing in the background. That notes the estimate at $825,000. We have the pre-bid meeting agenda next with administrative issues and just project background like the default guideline schedule and estimates. We had a very large turnout for this project at the pre-bid meeting. And we did have a lot of bidders. As you can see, Zimmerman School Equipment was the low bidder. They came in at $676,825.78. We have the bid award recommendation letter from Triad. We have the legislation noting it's $756,000. So with this project, additionally, the district identified the need for cafeteria furnishings. So at South High School, and recommended extending this contract via change order in the amount not to exceed $80,000. So that is added on to what you saw on the bid tabulation. We have the working contract next. We have the LEDE Form A signed by Terry Wise noting 10%. And Zimmerman will be utilizing EE board moving and storage for installation to meet their 10% goal. And do we have any questions?
Are there any questions or comments from the board? If not, I'll take a motion to approve project number.
One of the things I just wanted to point out, we had talked through in the technical review committee, we actually do talk about the projects a little bit more in depth as well. But one of the things that we had suggested just from a bid strategy is when we know when we're doing things like loose furniture, if there's an opportunity to include as an add alternate a higher number, just so all the bidders know, gee, if we're able to buy more, we can, and that way we see those pricing come in, and then if you have bid savings like this, you're able to add that. But it just may foster a little bit better pricing that may come because of some of those larger quantities. So something we talked about. So with that, I would move approval of project number 23011 with that award to Zimmerman.
Thanks, Jim. Is there a second?
Second.
Thanks, Jennifer. All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. Moving on to the 10th item on our agenda, 4.10, approval of deduct change order number 7 to Miles McClellan Construction for combination bid package 3, 4, and 7 for 4077 Carl Road miscellaneous facilities renovations, project number 22013.
All right. Additionally, well, again, this is for 4077 Carl Road, project to Miles McClellan. This is change order number 2. Let me get my cursor, sorry. Here is the cover sheet. Oh, I don't know what's going on over here. This is the cover sheet for the change order, noting the deduct of $40,888.92. And it is a credit for unused contingency on this project and a no cost time extension to 3/30/23. This is just a change order log from that contractor. And here is the legislation noting that same amount. And do we have any questions?
Are there any questions or comments from the board?
We mulled over this for such a long time, too. Getting that deduct.
We're just
right.
excited because that means the contract is actually finished. So
Yes, yes.
we can actually take one off the books.
That's great. That's great. All right, without any questions or comments, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Thank you, Jennifer. Is there a second?
Second.
Thanks, Jim. All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. This concludes item number 4, action items on our agenda. Moving on to item number 5, community inclusion report. There are no action items to report. Moving to item number 6, Columbus Board of Education. Board Member Brown, if you'd like to make any comments, you're free to do so.
Well, thank you. Appreciate always being part of this committee, although a non-voting member. But I'm especially appreciative today with the agenda, both with the work that I've seen, especially on several of these with respect to LEDE and the efforts made to try to achieve a goal with respect to LEDE. And secondly, I too am excited. I think the not that HVAC work isn't is exciting, and I think it will be really great for both our staff and especially for our students. So thank you all.
Thank you. Moving on to item number 7, the last item on our agenda. Or actually, it's not. There's another page to it. Is there any comments from the superintendent's office? All right. Moving on to item number 8, old business. There are no action items. Number 9, new business. There are no action items. Alex, go ahead.
So I do have one announcement. My apologies. I didn't even think to put it on the on a slide to be able to show it for everybody. But we have just started publishing an LEDE fair that we have planned.
Great.
Did not want to miss the opportunity. So it is scheduled for, I'm going to look at my calendar to make sure I give you the right date. So it is Monday, March 27th. It'll be from 12:30 p.m. to 2:30 p.m. It will be in this exact room that we're sitting in right now. So 3700 South High Street, Suite 825. We have a total, so those first 2 contracts you saw today, the enormous roof and HVAC project, we have asked all 5 vendors who are competing for those projects to be here in person. And so each of those teams will have several representatives. We'll have some general information that we can share, and each of those vendors will also make themselves available for one-on-one sessions that'll run about 10 minutes. If our subcontractor base is interested, they can find information on the website. It's ccsoh.us. If you navigate to the Capital Improvements Department, you'll find the information and the links there. There is a flyer as well as an online registration. So again, it's Monday, March 27th, 12:30 p.m. at 3700 South High Street.
Thank you, Alex, for the information as well as your efforts in trying to get more LED participation. It's great. Any other items? If not, I can move on to item number 10, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right, thanks, Jim. Thank you, everyone, for your time today. Great agenda. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.